Good evening. Welcome out to the Mancunian way. My name is Martin. I'm your host, and we are joined by a friend of the channel, great guest, Tom Collier. How are you, mate?
I'm doing very good, thank you. Great to see so many people who remember me in the chat as well. Doing very well. Just bought a house, so breaking walls, ripping down paper, busy time, but I can't miss an opportunity to talk about the rare combination of wrestling and football.
Yeah, this is something that people don't know. Obviously, Tom's been on the show many, many times before, and he's always a great guest. But Tom is a wrestling journalist who does his own channel. Links are all in the description. And I'm a sub of Tom's channel as well as a member, and I've been for a long time. And as soon as this got announced, I went, okay, then this is where we can do a proper collab show. Because obviously I can talk from the Manchester City perspective. Tom can go from the WWE perspective in terms of money and everything else. And also, don't think people realize, we will also explain how this actually is a confident step in the 115 issue, which we will come down to later on. It's quite big, this, and I don't think people realize how big this is, Manchester City, but we'll get into it. Going to say some hellos, first of all, as we always do here on the channel. BB, good evening, mate. Is this more of a deal for the use of the Co-op Arena? Talk about that as well. What, Man City and W had never imagined this. I don't think people actually did. No. Adam throwing up the emojis, which don't show on StreamYard, which is so annoying. It really is annoying that the emojis and that don't show up, but they're basically trophies, as you know. City Bevo, how are you, mate? I'm going to contact you because I'm going to see if you're available tomorrow night. Good evening, Adam. How are you, mate? Shadow Vipers in the building. Rico's with us, our resident Evertonian. Denzi Pierre Lewis, good evening. We may get some, obviously, wrestling fans in here who may want to know a little bit about this. Bonsoir says Caribbean. How are you, mate? DC, hello, you. Hello, fellow treble winners, 4-peat winners. Everyone else, I hope the US is doing you well this evening, DC. AK, yes, people. I said, give Tom a massive welcome. Ed Fry's soccer chat time. See, we even got, this has become like a dual chat, which I'm just loving. I love the fact that we've got this going on. Peter Gresty, good evening, mate. How are you? If you are from Tom's channel, introduce yourself. Hope you enjoy it. And welcome. WWE Boom, says Cade. Used to like wrestling when I was younger, was a fan of Dean Ambrose because of his personality. Younger, Dean Ambrose wasn't like 20 years ago, Jack. It was only about 5 years.
He was 12 years ago.
Was it?
Yep.
Oh, I'm really old.
And nowadays he's back to the John Moxley days and bleeding everywhere.
I'm really old then, aren't I? Really, really old. Not bad for a team with 115 charges. Yes, we will talk about that and how WWE aren't just recklessly going to join into a business partnership with a team that is going to be having a lot of issues down the line. Hello, boys, says Hugh Bella. How are you? Tom is with us. There's loads. Craig, party time. How are you? Hope you are well back from holidays. Hope you had a lovely, lovely time. Lovely to see you, mate. Hello, Martin. Hello, Tom. Any wrestling fans subscribe to Tom? There you go, Danny. Danny, this is like dream stream for you, mate. You've got us both going on here at the same time. And thank you for passing on the message as well, Danny, to Tom on Monday. Appreciate that. Alan, how are you, mate? Good evening. You may learn some. Alan is on our channel, Tom. So Alan was like, WWE, because he was not a wrestling fan. He didn't understand. Pardo Oaks, how are you, mate? Anyone know what Martin is cooking? Cooking?
No, wrestling, cooking. Mate. Wrestling.
Yes,
about who's cooking in wrestling.
Can't have many off work in the season. Yeah, you're not allowed work. You've got your days are being off. You're about to start your work again next week or whenever they're back. Craig, party time. Hope you had a nice holiday. Anyway, right, Big Daddy. Why does everyone throw Big Daddy around? You're showing your age. Right. As we know, it was very quietly, and I don't know why, it was very quietly announced that Manchester City and WWE had entered into a merchandise deal. collaboration. As you know, Manchester City are going over to the US of A in about 2 weeks' time for a lovely pre-season tour. There's games in Orlando, which I'm not going to tell you. I've told you 1,000 times that I'm going to. I'm not going to keep repeating myself because I'm getting into the bragging stage now that I'm off to America in 3 weeks. But obviously we're playing in New York as well. Now, WWE, I will let Tom explain the WWE side. I will explain the City side. What this has become more of is a merchandise deal. So WWE have T-shirts for all their all their wrestlers.
Yeah, technically non-contracted.
Well, all right, independent. I'm not. Yeah, that's why I stopped myself then.
Yeah, it's awkward.
Because of the independent contractors or anything, I don't know. And each wrestler, so Roman Reigns, for example, will have head of the table. City have then brought one out going top of the league. You know, things like that. CM Punk has a T-shirt, best in the world. City have done a CM Punk one in collaboration with WWE called Best Team in the Land and all the world. So you can see where the collabs are going on. They are on sale already on sale, and they are doing gangbusters already. These are some of the pictures. There was a thing where City, a lot of WWE superstars, wrestlers went to the New York store that is roughly around, I think it's Times Square. If anyone knows, to get into Times Square area of New York is quite big real estate. You don't just land in there. And City had opened this brand new superstore with Manchester City, New York City. Big things are happening. And people were queuing up from, I think it was 2 a.m. to get into the store, and it was going around the block. This week, WWE superstars have entered into that store. I think there was Bayley, there was Grayson Waller, Baron Corbin went in, and this is what they did. I've got some photos that I'm just going to show before I bring Tom in. But there you can see. Tom, you can explain who that is.
That is Santos Escobar. He is a wrestler who's recently been working with names such as Rey Mysterio, which would be a bit more recognizable to people. And he's been elevated through the NXT brand quite recently and recently made the main roster. Wrestled at WrestleMania alongside, I believe it was Dominic Mysterio versus Rey Mysterio and Partner. Partner takes a while to get there because there was a lot of people injured along the way. But eventually we got to a tag team match that was at least passable.
Yep. And then there was other photos.
This is Tegan Knox. She's pretty big in the Welsh scene, which is, of course, in the WWE's world, if you're Welsh, you're British, which means you're English. Mm-hmm. Hence, for example, Drew McIntyre being English. There's a whole lot when it comes to WWE. Basically, we Andy Murray. We claim Andy Murray as British when he does well. WWE claims everyone to be British. That is Tegan Knox, who didn't have much to do at the time.
And as you can see, she's holding a Manchester City shirt with Jack Grealish, number 10. But there is a slight difference, and these will be worn on the US tour. The Grealish name or the font is going to be in a WWE font with WWE colours, hence the red around the outline of the name. Also, you have got Manchester City at the top of each number and WWE at the bottom of each number. So this is going to be very, very clearly marketed as a dual venture moving forward. You then get this one, which is Grayson Waller, that is holding the Man City fight till the end with the WWE. And it's going to be things like that where we're moving forward. Now, what I wanted to ask Tom is, and I will bring up your comments as you are going. Yes, Connor, I can see that super chat. Thank you, mate. Hi, Martin and Tom. I love watching both channels. So I was excited that WWE and Manchester City have joined up. Both keep up the great work. Thank you so much for your generosity, mate. It is amazing. And you can now hit like on the super chats if you want to give it a like for the appreciation, which I learned that through Tom's channel as well. So there you go. So, Tom, I mean, what have you heard regarding the Manchester City and WWE, or from the WWE side, why they wanted to do this, what was the reason, what are they gaining out of it, things like that.
So from this most basic, before we start talking about the internationalization and the move to Netflix, which does play a part in this, the WWE essentially have long had issues when it comes to the creation of their merchandise in the UK area. They did have a warehouse when they ran NXT UK, but Brexit sort of put an end to that. There were additional taxes, so they're looking at moving that offshore as part of NXT Europe. There's talk about Germany, for example, as a base for it. When it comes to the Man City deal, essentially it works the other way as well. The creation of merchandise in the US, the actual creators, the designers, etc., are a bit more limited, especially with the real estate in question, such as that in Times Square. Now, when you consider the WWE have long been able to sell a lot of their merchandise in the UK, but it takes a long time to ship, this makes a lot of sense because the same companies that make the merchandise for Man City are now employed to make the same merchandise for WWE and vice versa in some areas in the United States as well. So it is most basic as a merchandising deal. It saves the WWE a ton of money, more than they are paying for the services, and is of mutual benefit to both sides. It's a lot bigger than just that, but on the face of it, that is the entirety of the deal.
Yeah. And obviously WWE, what people don't know is they have a, which Tom has explained on his channel. Get over to Tom Collier if you want to listen to any of this. The guy, Tom knows his stuff, trust me. Trust me, get over there. If you are not subscribed, get over there when you're done here. Obviously, don't go now. WWE are very different. They like a bidding war. Now, Manchester City, I can come at this from two ways now. We have, of course, the Etihad Stadium, with a brand spanking 5-star hotel currently being built. We also have 200 yards away, the Co-op Arena. That is also now up, running and built. We also have in 2027 our sister club, New York City, building their brand spanking new stadium, basically in WWE territory. Because WWE is basically a New York company based out of Connecticut, which don't know, is it a suburb or New York's that bloody big. I never know where parts of New York is anymore because parts of Canada are in New York and everything else now, so I never know. But it's huge. And personally, for me, I do think we will see events coming to the Etihad. I think we will eventually see events going into the New York City Stadium. I don't know about you, Tom, but that's what I've heard. This, like you said, this could get bigger and bigger as it goes along. There are little offcuts going into this where we can go.
Yeah, if I can dive into now when you talk about bidding war, what you mean by that.
Yes, yeah.
So the WWE, until very recently, was booking out arenas around the United States to host their shows. They would spend the money to hire the stadium, hire the arena, fill it up, and even for big events like WrestleMania, they'd be spending a lot of money on that. Recently, this has changed. In fact, as WWE goes more international, leaves the United States a lot more often, it's actually gone the exact opposite. And this does mean that we have events in 2022, like Clash at the Castle in Cardiff, where the city of Cardiff paid the WWE a substantial fee to host an event in their city. It brings in quite a huge amount of tourism and also brings in a lot of income for the local economy. This is something they followed up quite recently this year in Glasgow. It also happens with a lot of other countries. This actually all started with a deal with Saudi Arabia, which started about a decade ago, where the government of Saudi Arabia was paying millions upon millions of dollars for 2 shows per year. And they started out as glorified house shows before then becoming more of a part of the standard pay-per-view or now premium live event experience. This means that when you look at this deal with Manchester City, essentially it would be a situation whereby if they were hosting a show in the UK, specifically in England, the Etihad Stadium, the Co-op Arena, have just booked first choice. They've just taken the seat at the front of the bidding war, and they've just gained themselves a substantial discount to do so. They would still have to pay the WWE, but it would be substantially less, and it would mean a lot coming into the Manchester area, particularly the area around Manchester City enterprises, where Manchester City have a lot of input into the local businesses. It could be hugely beneficial for both sides, even if it is just one show. At the moment, they tend to do a premium live event and, in addition to that, a SmackDown event, which takes place on Fridays, at least at current. That would mean you get 2 shows back to back, potentially hosting 2 arenas, so Co-op Arena and Etihad Stadium. And that would mean essentially that you have thousands upon thousands of international viewers coming into the UK, spending money at Manchester City hosted events with all of the sponsorship involved, because WWE would be more than happy to host Man City sponsorship during WWE events. That is one of the areas in which I definitely see this heading, because if you're going to have a bidding war, surely an actual partner gets first refusal.
Yeah, spot on. And where we were talking earlier, and before I go into the next phase, just want to give you some little brief details to what this full deal actually represents. So Manchester City and WWE have unveiled the exclusive merchandise collaboration. It's going to be 6 t-shirts to begin with. So you're going to have, like, Becky Lynch is the man. That's what her her motto is, her name is, Tom, what
gimmick.
I'm trying to think of the word. What is it? The way she's referred to, the way she is commercialized, things like that. Yeah.
A pseudonym.
You've got top of the table. So you've got head of the table for Roman Reigns, and City will then do one called top of the table, which is a nod to Roman Reigns. They then have, like I said earlier on, the CM Punk one, best team in the land and all the world. They have the Stone Cold Steve Austin. So he has 316. City are going to have 9320. And you can see where they're going. I know there are some outlets who have sold out of these already. They're absolutely flying at the moment. Flying. Which, this was announced 4 days ago. 4 or 5 days ago. And some have already sold out in many sizes. Which is just astonishing. It tells you the market is there. I did see Triple H did put a tweet out, which went down like a lead balloon with a lot of football rivals, because he talked about 2 of the most passionate fan bases around coming together, which sent a lot of United, Liverpool, Arsenal fans into absolute meltdown, as they do.
But it got everyone talking about it.
But it got everyone talking. The initial tweet from WWE got over nearly 3 million views. That's just clicking onto it, not, and everything else. So it tells you the market is there. We're talking a huge market. Benno, thank you very much for your very, very generous $4.99, mate. Cost me a fortune. My 11-year-old is WWE mad, but no kid sizes, which is poor. So I've had to have all men's, extra small and small. It should be aimed more towards kids.
This is something they will be addressing with the new merchandise supplier.
Yeah, there you go. So does Pardo Oaks, and this is why we got Tom on. Does WWE have a big falling? Would you like to explain that one? And you can maybe even want to talk about the Netflix deal if you want there, Tom.
Absolutely. At current, SmackDown is the most watched show in the WWE Pantheon. It is on Fox, which is the most watched channel in the United States. It reaches an average of roughly about 2.6 million viewers every single week. That's an average over the course of a year. There's a high point near WrestleMania and a low point after WrestleMania. At the moment, WWE revenue averages roughly around $1 billion every single year. And that is before you factor in a huge amount of deals like this, where they're not necessarily so public about it. In fact, the Saudi Arabia deal that I mentioned earlier is a $2 billion deal for 10 events. When you go beyond that, and this is why the revenue is currently increasing, you also then look at the amount of money that's coming in from the UK for shows there, from plenty of other countries. Australia in February, for example, has been and gone. We're going to bash at Berlin quite soon. the WWE are incredibly far-reaching. They are currently, and this is one of the reasons for this deal, trying to be treated as a legitimate sport, and the overall level of coverage is massive. They are, to my knowledge, at most recent check, the 4th biggest YouTube channel in the world as well. And that is constantly increasing, or at least has been up until the level of Mr. Beast basically becoming unstoppable. So wherever you are, you know something about WWE. Whereas internationally, even just in a comparison to where we are, I couldn't necessarily say the same about Manchester City.
And this is where this will help. Like, for example, we're only in July. We just ticked over in July. And so far in the last 6 months, WWE have been to Australia. At the back end, they were in... Oh, no, they did Puerto Rico this year as well.
Puerto Rico was last year. Backlash, it was early in the year.
So there was Puerto Rico. Last year, they went to Australia. They went to France, which was huge. They've just done Scotland. This is what they're doing. They are making it very global. This, for me, showed Manchester City are aiming at things, because we know within the Premier League, they are trying to close the ATP roads with the third-party sponsorships. What this is another opening for Manchester City Football Club, because America has nothing to do with Abu Dhabi in terms of, they can't say Sheikh Mansour has a link into WWE somewhere. The Premier League may try and do that, but they won't. And this is where I was going with the 115 earlier. And I've said this for a long time. WWE is not some small little glitchy company that has just come in. They've just signed, was that a £5 billion deal? 5.5 billion with Netflix?
Yeah, it's above 5 billion for the Netflix deal. And that means they will be in almost every country available live for anyone who subscribes to Netflix.
Yeah. So we ain't talking a Mama and Pop's deli here that's just popped up. We're talking a company that is being paid over 5 billion to take their flagship show, Monday Night Raw, onto Netflix. During the, you have paid advertising. All of this merchandise will be plugged on WWE television. No doubt about it. What that then brings is more eyes, not only to WWE, it then brings more eyes to Manchester City. And this is where you'll start seeing, because when WWE come over here, you'll start seeing City players appearing within the crowd, vice versa. You'll start getting a lot of collaborations going on. When they're over here, you'll start them coming out in City shirts. Like this is far-reaching, just a merchandise deal, which is what Tom was saying earlier on. This is City are trying to own the American market. City are trying to take over from a soccer or football point of view, the footballing world over there. They want to be the #1 brand for football or soccer.
I can make a couple of comparisons here. Many moons ago, Wayne Rooney appeared in the crowd at a WWE Raw event and slapped a WWE wrestler in the face because it was a UK event. They wanted a recognizable face. That will now be Man City names. I remember a time quite a while ago when Muse and My Chemical Romance went on tour together. And because Muse were bigger in the UK, they headlined the tour in the UK. Because My Chemical Romance were bigger in the US, they headlined the tour in the US. That is what we're talking about here. A partnership which says, you're bigger in this country and you will headline, but we will back you up and we will gain from it. Whereas you come to our turf, we will headline, but you will back us up and you will gain for it. This puts these two companies on parity, on the same level, and it will massively help both sides.
Yeah, and this is not even about whether you like wrestling or whether you like football, this or soccer. This is a business partnership. You've got to look at it from a business perspective here. Because people are already coming up with ideas, and you look at it and you think, like, Haaland keeps scoring against teams. And you can do, here we go. Haaland does, and Haaland's one of the biggest names in football. You get him involved into WWE. You bring the others over to it, and this is where we're going to end up down the road. And to me, as I was saying, WWE will have done their due diligence into this. If City, because by the way, we all hear that the 115 hearing is going to be in November. Are you telling me WWE are going to come on board and then 5 months later be saddled with a business partner who could be basically have an owner that has now been found guilty of perjury and fraud? WWE are not a small company. They will have dug into all of this, ladies and gentlemen.
Should we now take the opportunity to pivot to someone else that the WWE may have had some serious issues with, and that will be making them do their due diligence?
I'll let you go down that road.
Oh, great.
And we always say allegedly, just to cover my mind.
Allegedly, because I have to start by making it very clear that accusations have been made, but as of yet have not been investigated. There is an ongoing federal investigation into former WWE owner and chairman Vince McMahon for a number of different things. Firstly, for example, sex trafficking. I'm just going to throw that one out there and try not to feel my soul dying about the whole thing. That is an area in which the entire WWE is actively under investigation. And to be clear, the entire WWE is currently actively under investigation for that exact thing. They are working very hard to keep their noses as clear from the Vince McMahon stench as possible. And it does raise serious questions because Nick Khan, who's in charge of the financial side of WWE, is a very, very experienced businessman who would have made every effort to know everything possible and ensure that they are not partnering with a company that would possibly be found guilty of anything. The word guilty needs to be kept as far away from the WWE as possible right now. They need to be dancing away from anything possible that could suggest a toxic culture in the WWE, because accusations include the phrase a toxic culture. Again, allegations have been made. As of yet, nothing has been proven conclusively one way or the other.
Yeah. And there you go. And what I'm going to do is, for example, WWE, Manchester City have 17.6 million followers on Twitter. And some say quite big, quite large. I'm just going to give you WWE's following on Twitter. It's 14.1. So they're quite, people say City are bigger. But also with this, WWE are trying to launch, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Tom, NXT Europe.
Yes, they are.
Which is coming very, very soon. Again, it's a nice pathway into this because City are in England, part of Europe. There's all sort of caveats that can come into this. And Tom made the beginning. WWE are trying to get away from as much
controversy.
Controversy. Thank you. Controversy as they possibly can. They would not have entered into a deal with Manchester City. And by the way, the Premier League will have known about this. The Premier League will have to have signed this deal off.
Yes.
So for me, it is just more evidence that leads me more confident to believe that Manchester City will be fine. They've also signed a deal with Kellogg's. They signed a deal with Joey, I don't know how you want to pronounce that, with the American baby company. This is not, we wouldn't be getting these deals if you were going down to Division 3, etc., etc. Well, something has happened with them. I bet you guys done already. City proved they're innocent. WWE wouldn't agree to if City thing would give them exactly. Or WWE have not done their due diligence then correctly.
Not possible with Nick Khan, and we know this.
This is what I'm saying.
The man is a bloodhound.
Nick Khan would not have done this. He does have a huge following. I've managed well. Tom was just giving us some great things. These are the actual T-shirts. Jeremy Docky, Man City fight till the end. You have the Man City, which is the Becky Lynch one.
That's clever.
With the man, Kevin De Bruyne. What I've said is biggie one. Kovacic there with the CM Punk one, the best team in the land and all the world. For CM Punk's the best in the world t-shirt. And then you have top of the table, which is a thing to Roman Reigns, which is head of the table.
You can actually see his Dance Dance Revolution style icon right at the bottom.
Yeah. You can't see, if you look at the person at the bottom, that is Roman Reigns. So everywhere you look now, you are not just going to see Manchester City logos. You are going to see WWE and vice versa. When I am over in America, all I will do is see WWE and Manchester City together. That is going to be huge. And it is. And personally, I've been quite surprised how no one's really picked up on this. You've not heard anything in the media about this at all in the UK.
No.
It was column inches. And this is why I wanted to do this tonight, not only because I have a great person in Tom, and it was a great opportunity to get him back onto the channel, but not only that, we wanted to get some awareness out there. And I'm quite surprised many others haven't come out big on this, because, and I do think there is that little bit of, well, it's wrestling. And you turn your nose up at it and it's a bit kiddie-ish, you know what I mean? And because there are some in the UK that do see wrestling as silly.
There are some in the world that see wrestling as silly.
Well,
it has a, unfortunately, awkward reputation that it's popular amongst kids. And yet here we are in the days of Wyatt 6, which clearly is not aimed at children. The bloodline and the head of the table, clearly not aimed at children. The WWE are a public traded company. It means every 3 months, they will provide all of their earnings details and they will provide earnings calls for journalists. That is the period at which I expect to really see the amount of money that's being funneled either to and or from Man City by the WWE in this. I'll be interested to see who's actually spending more, because there will be a net gain for both, but there will be an initial outlay that needs to be recognized. I do not believe for a moment that any wrestling journalist is going to ask the question about this, and I think that is a crying shame. Because this is a deal, even just speaking a little bit from the Man City side, that does allow them to take advantage of an increased revenue that isn't necessarily immediately declared. Because the actual books for Man City don't come every 3 months. They come, I believe, once a year. This is a difficult situation when it comes to Manchester City, because the WWE will announce all of that financial information first in that period. But they don't necessarily have to announce it immediately. The WWE can hold it until the end of the year, and that means people will be able to sort of avoid it in many ways as well. They also have a habit of hiding certain things under phrases like media rights deal, without necessarily saying who or where that media right is going. And again, it is not investigated. For example, YouTube income is not mentioned. I did some analysis a number of years ago and found that the WWE were making roughly $13 million a year at the time, which is pretty substantial when you consider there's 2 or 3 people working their YouTube team, and they just take footage that's already out there and make something of it. That is a pretty substantial amount that the WWE are using. With this in mind, it's an easy way to funnel a substantial amount of money, which could be used to sort of work with the financial fair play rules, because as you increase your revenue, that becomes less of a concern. The revenue will increase. It's just that some of that money will be going back. It'll be interesting to see how much money is going back, what the level is, and whether it is literally this money going here and the same money going back there. I can't wait for the earnings call to find out the actual details.
Yeah. And WWE have already announced on the 16th of October, I believe, that WWE Live is coming over to the Co-op Arena, or Co-op Live Arena. That's already penciled in. Tickets are on sale. And no doubt you will also get City. Like me, I'm a season ticket holder. I'll probably get a cheaper version to go into there now, or even at the AED, and vice versa. This is what they're going to want to do. This is a very clever business strategy, this, from both sides. And listen, I'm not gonna lie, I think this does benefit City more in terms of where we at going forward in terms of a PSR stroke a 115 case legal situation, I do think this will help us, because this is just more evidence that City feel more than enough confidence that they will be fine. Because if you look through the years, and again, I always use the word allegedly, but when somebody is in major trouble or a business is in major trouble, they don't go bigger. They start scaling down and get ready for things. They don't double down and go 3 times bigger.
No, companies in general always work in very simple ways. You contract to expand, and it is constantly refreshing cycle of exactly that. You contract and then you expand. Manchester City has had those moments as well where it has had to contract before it expands. The WWE has been through much the same. You will see pretty regularly in the WWE, particularly after WrestleMania, they will have pretty regular releases where they take some of their talents and say, okay, we need to save some money and move these on. If I can just respond to a question from Pardo here saying from 1041, says, what sort of figures do you think is possible, Tom? I would expect this to be in the the high 7, the low 8 figure sort of numbers. The WWE do not mess around when it comes to deals like this. And if there is any deal involving actually hosting events at the arenas, we'll be talking at minimum millions plus.
And there you go. It took me by an absolute storm, because I was like, and because yes, I am a WWE fan, that's why. AK, thank you so much for your generosity, mate. 10 gifted subs. That is amazing. You lot are on fire tonight. Your super chats and everything. But again, you don't have to do super chats or gifted memberships to get involved. Just hitting the like button helps as well. There's 140 of you in here nearly already, which is astounding, because and I'm sure we've got people over from Tom's channel as well. So welcome.
There's a few popping up.
But thank you, and well done to some people who are. You've now been entered into the end of month prize draw, and don't forget, the end of the month for July will be the winner of that will be entered or invited onto the brand new show starting in August. You will be a guest person on the panel if you would like to be. So there you go. You get to become part of the channel for an evening. The Premier League could not possibly stop this deal. No, because there is nothing to do with Abu Dhabi. They cannot do any ATP in terms of this. Craig, everything City do is about growing the value of the CFG group. If City was in trouble, would they spend 300 million on a new stadium and increase revenue? And there you go. It is huge. This is just part of City's strategy. And if people don't see that, I can't help that. I can't help if people want to bury their head in the sand and ignore what's going on. WD will be more hardcore and no PG when going to Netflix. I agree. W's massively in the chat. Now Tom knows where I get it from.
Yes,
I do it in his shows. Everyone throwing W's in the chat for AK, which is amazing and does help the chat rate. Thank you. Chroma Best, the funny thing is that 2 days before the announcement, I was speaking with my dad about wanting WWE and Man City to collab, and then it happened. There you go. Sometimes if you think hard enough, it happens. And there's Pardo, who is, trust me now, by the way, Tom, Pardo is an amazing member of the channel, but he's also very honest.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
He will be honest. He will. Tom, your experience delivery is as ever. There you go. Well done. You're always welcome, and you always will be.
I've enjoyed making my appearances at this channel. It's usually as a Liverpool fan, and I was very well received, and I'm very grateful for that, considering I was definitely the enemy on those periods.
I think this is one to you, Tom. Tristan Hall. Sorry, but WWE is owned by the company who owns UFC. Yeah, we know. So your deal would be with UFC and WWE. Don't have any right make deals. Fact.
Fiction. Close, but not quite. TKO are the company you're referring to there. They run both the UFC and the WWE. However, the WWE and UFC have separate structures individually with chairs, chief financial officers, which is Nick Khan, as we've referred to, and heads of booking and entertainment. For example, Triple H is the chief content officer over in the WWE. They do have independent sections working with them and an overall parent company that will finalize those details and occasionally saying, no, you can't have the money. It's rare, but it does happen. So I'm glad you raised that point. I appreciate you mentioning about TKO. It is not 100% as you're explaining it.
Yeah. The deal is with WWE, not TKO. Because there is nothing to do with UFC within it. There is no UFC involvement. So you are right. Yeah. Which is where I was about to come to, which I think is a great point as well. This doesn't rule out a UFC moving forward either. Because again, UFC are going into the co-op arena. And trust me, I had a look at some of those ticket prices. I'm not affording any of those. Hundreds of pounds for even the not very good seats to watch UFC. And just, I mean, I've not had the pleasure to go into the co-op arena yet or co-op live, but it's it's pricey to get into UFC. Well, so you are right in a way, Tristan. Yeah, totally get it. TKO are the parent company, which The Rock is on. Is he a board member or big?
The Rock is a board member of the WWE. He is not a board member of TKO.
Of TKO. Thank you. There you go for the clarification. So yeah, like Tom said, they're separate boards completely, but they all answer to Ari Emanuel.
Ari Emanuel, yes. I do suspect that it's during negotiations with UFC that the possibility of this deal was raised, but it would have been passed by TKO to WWE. Nick Khan would have finalized the deal.
Yeah. Imagine a WWE version. No, you're not going to get that, mate, because one is wrestling or sports entertainment, one is football.
Yeah, WWE would lose massively, but Man City would have 15 injured players.
Yeah. TKO, yeah. I'm just trying to think. Is what true? Why? Well, what's he put out here? What's he put out here? What have you put, Cade? I just want to double check where you've come to. What people
Flamengo are negotiating a loan deal for Paqueta. That sounds he guilty if he leaving England. 10:45.
Right, thank you. There we go.
Also, right above that, thank you, Eric. This does make sense, I promise.
Flamengo are negotiating a deal for. I have no idea about that. I haven't heard anything on Paqueta. The Paqueta stuff has gone completely quiet from a City, but it would make sense. They would probably have to leave England. From his point of view, he's not very happy with the Premier League. He wants out of England, full stop, because he is still declaring his innocence in all of the betting allegations. Again, allegations. Tom, what situation with Endeavour's takeover of TKO?
So, this Endeavour is the parent company of TKO. Its parent companies are parent companies of parent companies. TKO was launched essentially as a combination of WWE and UFC by Ari Emanuel, who runs Endeavour. So it's a second company that he has and that's sort of folded together, but not quite. It's a difficult one to explain, but essentially it's roughly the same thing.
Yeah. Triple H versus Pep Guardiola battle of the balls.
I'd watch that.
But I do think you may see a Triple H Pep Guardiola photograph opportunity at some point in the next month or so.
Sorry, I'll get that with the right angle. It's always like that. It's always like that.
Yeah. So Tommy's moving house. So Tommy's going to a lovely new house.
Why? What?
Oh, sorry. I thought you were pointing at the leak. Sorry.
No, I was trying to point at you, but no, I am moving house. Yeah, in about 2 weeks, I'll have completed a transfer. But yeah,
because you pointed there, I lost.
Yeah, one of many reasons I'm leaving is a leak here in my office. To be fair, I've also ripped down a wall in the new office, so things are not going perfectly.
There you go. But yeah, I do think. Do not be surprised to have WWE people over some of or a WWE presence at the Manchester City games as we're about to approach in 3 weeks. Do not be surprised. Because again, when you're over there, the font and the numbers will all be WWE part of this deal. which is why I showed you earlier on, which is where the Grealish thing then comes in here. This is the font that there will be on the back of all of the shirts while they are on their American tour.
And just to follow up on that one, while there are lots of different shirts and options, there is no option at current for the WWE undisputed, not universal champion Cody Rhodes. I suspect he may be front and center when it comes to that individual moment.
It just come back and explained himself. Oh, you're about the Silver Lake, what to take over Endeavour.
No information on that one, unfortunately. I mostly get information from WWE or in and around WWE. Higher than that, I don't tend to have the sources required to answer that question, unfortunately.
AEW is I thought it was at Wembley Stadium.
It is Wembley Stadium.
Right, I'm going to say it's the stadium, not the arena.
Yeah, they were at the stadium last year. They announced at the end of the show they were coming back.
Yeah, there is no deal with AEW. The deal is with WWE.
Yeah, it's one of the key differences between the two rival companies. AEW is still at a point of paying for large stadiums and arenas, but gets bigger stadiums because of that, whereas WWE gets paid for it, but tends to go with smaller venues.
Oh, there is something out. Sorry, Tom, just throwing. There was a little bit of thing I didn't know. I know why you've asked about the Paqueta thing, because West Ham Central tweeted out this morning that West Ham are relatively confident that there is not enough evidence to convict Lucas Paqueta of any charges. And so I don't know. I don't think that don't think that will change anything for Manchester City this summer-wise. So I don't think that will ever get sorted out quick enough. But yeah, I think that's everything we can add onto it up to now. One thing I will do is I will show a lot of these photos. If there is anything out there, I will get, like I said, I am going to do a vlog while I'm away, especially on the day that I'm in Orlando for the Barcelona game.
Beautiful place.
I will do a vlog. Me and Pat will be there live. We'll try and come live from the stadium because we're in the actual Manchester City section. We're not in the open areas. We're in the actual City section behind the goal, I believe, on level 1. So we will be there. So there you go. Tom, anything you want to add?
No, at this point, I'll just essentially put myself over a little bit. You can find my work on the Tom Colligue channel. We just recently hit 6,500 subscribers, so hit a new record after a very good last couple of days. When it comes to WWE, I can see many people who are familiar with it, maybe not watching it recently. I would recommend checking out certain characters. Roman Reigns and the Bloodline, definitely worth your time. The Wyatt 6, if you just look at a picture, that's SICKS. If that doesn't intrigue you for a more adult content, I don't know what will. But with it coming onto Netflix as well, WWE will be more accessible than ever. And if you want someone who's going to break it down, keep you updated and generally informed, the Tom Colligue channel is the place for you. So please, if you are a wrestling fan or are considering coming back, check us out. And we do have Money in the Bank, the next big premium live event on Saturday when I'll be live and covering.
Which I will be in. Well, I won't be on the show, but I'll be in the chat. Because I'm not going on Tom's channel at 1 in the morning.
I don't blame you. I don't usually want to.
Are those shirts available in the UK? Yes, they are. They are available in the UK. You can get them now, Pardo. I believe it's... I'm trying to think of that. Should have... One thing, thank you, Pardo. Poor planning from me. I should have given you the website. It's... It's one of the generic ones online. Kit bag and Fanatics. Fanatics the main one. I think Fanatics have taken over Kit Bag now, I believe. So Fanatics is the way to go. They are on there, but I do know there are limited in sizes. They are flying out at the moment. I'm not sure if they're going to be on store. Oh, the City store. Well, in fact, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll very quickly, Pardo, show you now. I'll actually tell you if they're on the Manchester City website.
Oh, and I'll even tell you.
because they might even be on there.
We're doing on-the-spot research, guys,
On the
bringing you
spot
the
research.
breaking news as it comes through. We are a war room, we are a newsroom, and that is the same thing because we bring all of the individual details. You will not get more cutting edge. You will not get more direct. You will not get more intrusive thoughts than you will from watching this right here. And if you think I'm vamping, you are absolutely right because I know I know how this works, and I know full well that Martin needs a moment in order to prepare his thoughts and give me a prompt that he has found exactly what he is looking for.
Yep,
and yet,
found it.
I am still trying to make it relevant to the content.
Manchester City, you can get the font and the numbers with WWE on your shirt now on the Manchester City website. So it's already there. So you can buy a shirt and have that printing ready to roll. And I've already said I will get that printing for when I go out to America.
Absolutely.
On the new away one. Because I don't think it's going to look good in blue. I want it on the away one. So, yeah. See, now everyone's gone. Bruno isn't dead, but depends. Yes, Bruno's keep an eye on it. It's not dead. City have got a major interest. They're ready to go with the bid. It's in Newcastle's hands. But yeah, get over to Tom Collier. He's live every Friday, Monday. He is, don't want mind me telling you, about to take a couple of weeks hiatus.
2 weeks.
So don't think he's just disappeared 2 or 3 weeks as he moves into his brand new house, and we wish him all the best.
Thank you.
But then he'll be back. But he's live. He's also live Saturday, aren't he? This Saturday you are live.
Saturday for Money in the Bank. Typically for our live shows, we do spoiler warning on Mondays and Fridays, 10 p.m. UK time, 5 p.m. Eastern time in the US, where we have always at least one top story and then plenty of news as we get it as well. We tend to do a lot of backstage exclusive news, but also plenty of individual analysis and just general chat, games, and having fun.
There you go. Danny says, see you Friday on your channel, Tom, my friend.
Thank you, Danny.
There you go. And I love that the fact is we've done this and there's lots. Everyone remembers the names and we're all familiar. I love it. Absolutely love it. But yeah, if there is any other news on this, we'll get Tom back on. We're also going to get Tom back on because he is a Liverpool fan.
Yeah.
Sadly. So you can't teach everyone. But he's a Liverpool fan. We'll get him back on during the season to talk football as well. But get over to Tom's channel, give it a subscribe, give it a big thumbs up to us. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone. I was not expecting nearly 150 on tonight. I really wasn't, because there was, I thought we'll do it because it interests me and I think it needed to be said. But for Connor, Benno, and AK for your generous super chats and gifts and memberships, thank you for everyone who's joined in. Thank you so much. We are live tomorrow. The only thing I haven't decided on whether it's going to be a transfer show, because there's not a lot of transfer news, or we may do a subscriber phoning show. We're probably going to do a channel phoning show. So if you want to come on and have your say, we will do that tomorrow night around about 9:30, 10 p.m. But keep an eye on all our socials for those times. Big thank you to Tom. Always welcome, mate. Thank you for your time tonight. Craig's put nightly Kimmich and Bruno unless Nunes or Kovacic leaves. We're about to leave, Ray, but you can go back and watch it.
Yeah, right.
Everyone's saying ouch because we've outed you as a Liverpool fan.
Oh no, I've been outed as a fan of a club that's always brought me great joy and entertainment. How dare I? Thanks very much, as always, for having me. I'll definitely look forward to popping on during the season. I do really enjoy the analysis that we are able to do sort of as a unit. I'm very proud of looking at the games between Man City and Liverpool and thinking, yep, we knew that was going to be a problem, and things such as that. So I always really enjoy those shows. Yeah, and you're always welcome, you know that. Absolute top guy, Tom. And take care, and we'll see you all tomorrow night for our Thursday night show. Take care, all, and we'll see you tomorrow night. Bye.